Well, it's officially October, and that means it's officially Halloween season. Now, last year I didn't do any videos around the Halloween time, but this year I wanted to do something a little bit different. With the release of the new Halloween movie just a few weeks away, I'm going to be doing a string line of Halloween-related videos. I'm going to be talking about the movies and a bunch of other stuff along the way, and I'm going to start the month out with an updated ranking video. The one on my channel now I did back when my channel first started, and I've analyzed the movies a little bit more, and I have some updated thoughts, so I thought I'd share them with you. Just like my other rankings and list videos, again, this is strictly my opinion. I'm not saying everyone else who doesn't agree with me is wrong or right or whatever. They're just strictly my opinions. Now, there's only 10 movies, but there's going to be 11 spots, and that's because I'm going to be including the producer's cut of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I actually have different thoughts on that one than the theatrical cut, so I'm going to be mentioning the producer's cut along this video. So, without further delay, let's get started with number 11. Starting off my list with number 11 is no surprise to any Halloween fan, that's Halloween Resurrection. Now, my thoughts on this one haven't really changed all that much. However, I have heard people say that they view this movie as a so bad, it's entertaining view. And I can see that, I can see why some people may think that. I don't fully see it myself. I just see it as a lazy movie. That's the best way I can put it. To me, it just feels lazy. It took the great ending from Halloween H2O, which I will talk about H2O, and I might talk about that ending, who knows, and it just completely ruins it. And then we get this, again, lazy is the best word I can think of, we get this lazy story of teens being in the Meyer house, filming an internet horror show. I don't know what they were thinking with this one. They should have just stopped at H2O and just let the Halloween franchise either end, that's it, or possibly think of a different way to continue it. Either way, number 11, Resurrection, the weakest one. On to number 10 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, I've never really liked this one that much, but I have understood why some people do like it. However, with my most recent viewing, I don't like it at all. Not anymore. Very similar to Resurrection, it feels lazy. And I picked up that box set sometime last year, and I saw some of the special features and behind-the-scenes stuff with Halloween 5, and I can see why it was so lazy the last time I watched it. It's very clear that the crew members and the cast just didn't care about this movie, and they show in that documentary stuff. Oh man, there's so much I can talk about, but I'm not going to get into everything, but what I will mention, the mask looks bad, the score is bad, again it feels lazy. It tried to add some interesting elements, but just came across as almost forced. I can't really think of a better word to describe these two entries but lazy. It was hard to get through Halloween 5 this time. I've never really cared for it that much, but my most recent viewing, I really couldn't get through it. It was tough. Coming in at number 9 is Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, I've always viewed Rob Zombie's Halloween as an okay movie. It's not great, it's definitely not great, but it's not particularly horrible. And I still view it that way. However, it has gotten a little bit lower on my list than my previous list. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And that's because the last time I viewed it, there's just something that I saw that just downgraded it a little bit to me. It does have the issues that everyone talks about, the over-the-top swearing, the over-the-top gore and kills, the annoying shaky cam that you guys know I absolutely hate. There are some good elements though. The mask looks really cool. Michael himself is really cool. I know John Carpenter himself wasn't a fan of the really big Myers, but I kind of think he's more intimidating that way. I don't know. It's obvious that Rob Zombie was going to go for more of a shock value with this one, and that's his style. He's into shock horror. At some points it works, but other points it doesn't work. And of course the white trash characters, it doesn't work with a Halloween movie. The first half tried to be its own movie, but then the second half was just a rehash of the original. If he would have just kept what he had from the opening, I feel like it still wouldn't have been a great movie, but I think fans would have been a little more forgiving with this one. It's a mixed bag, but overall, it still remains just okay at best. Coming in at number 8 is a movie that I didn't think I would have at this particular spot. Coming in at number 8 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, it's still particularly low on the list, but if you saw my other ranking video, and if you know my thoughts on these movies already, you would know that I hated Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It didn't feel like a Halloween movie. It just felt like 2 hours of Rob Zombie just defecating on whatever he wanted. But with my recent viewing, I viewed this movie earlier this year, I've grown to appreciate it a little bit more. Again, it's not good. It's not a good movie. I'm not saying it's great, but I have learned to appreciate it a little bit more for one specific element. He did make it his own movie. It's not a rehash of Halloween 2. It's completely his movie in his own direction. Now, you can say what you want about Rob Zombie. I'm not a huge fan of Rob Zombie, not a fan of his movies, but I do respect him for not completely ripping off Halloween 2. Does it all work, though? No. There's a lot of elements that I still hate about the movie. The white trash characters and the over-the-top gore and swearing is even higher than the previous one. It doesn't all work, but I've grown to appreciate it a little bit more. And I actually like the ending. I don't know what happened, but when I saw the ending, I turned off the movie and I'm like, that was actually a good ending. I do prefer the theatrical ending, though. I like both of them. I like elements of both of them. If I can find a way to view it where one element from the theatrical and one element from the unrated combined, that would be a perfect ending for me. But from what it's shown, it's not bad. It's not great. It's not a good movie, but like I said, I appreciate it a little bit more. On to number 7 is Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, the theatrical cut. Now, when I first saw this movie, I enjoyed it, and I still know people who enjoy this movie. I can think of one word that describes this movie, and that is a headache. It's two, but headache. The theatrical version gives me a headache when I watch it. And that's because of what I think is bad editing. There's a lot of editing in this movie that just annoy the hell out of me. And like I said, it gives me a headache. I know some people that like it. That's fine if you do. For me, it doesn't work. Now, the reason this one is above Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, even though I said I respect Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 now, it still feels like it's a part of the Michael Myers, movies, a part of the lore of Michael Myers. Even though it does strain in a weird direction of this whole Thorn cult thing, it does still feel like a Michael Myers type movie, whereas Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 just feels like another Rob Zombie movie. However, there's a lot in this movie that just don't work for me. Like I said, for one, the editing. 2, I hate that they cut most of Dr. Loomis's scenes out. Some of the gore is, I wouldn't say bad, but some of the gore just felt a little unnecessary for me. But besides that, the movie looks good. The movie has good acting. This is Paul Rudd's first movie. It's an okay movie, but I'm still not that big a fan of it. Also, the score. I don't like the score for this one. I don't like the electric guitar remix of the classic score. I wish they would have just kept it with a piano theme. And that all has to do with fans knowing famously about the production issues that went wrong with Halloween 6. It's a long story. There's other videos that cover that. I'm just giving you my thoughts on the movie itself. So, that's Halloween 6. Coming at number 6 is Halloween 6, the producer's cut. A little bit lower than I would like for it to be, but I do like the producer's cut a little bit more than the theatrical cut. For one, the editing is much better. There's no more of that flashiness, in-your-face type editing that just gives me a headache. The story feels a little bit more complete. Not a whole lot, a little bit more complete though. The score is kept to a piano tune, which I like a lot more than the electric guitar stuff. It just feels more complete when I watch it. Now, there are stuff in it that I don't like. I'm going to get into a little bit of spoiler territory here, so if you don't know, and if you don't want to know, I don't know, turn the volume down or something. But one of the big reveals in the movie is that the baby that Jamie is protecting from Michael is actually Michael's baby too. That's pretty messed up. I can see why they didn't go in that direction. From my understanding, this was the version that they completely scrapped and re-edited. Again, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but in short, they screened the movie for 14-year-olds. They hated it, so they had to re-edit the whole movie and rush it into theaters. That's the short version, and I think this is the version that they screened, which sucks because I actually do like this version. I like it a little more than the theatrical cut. Again, it's not perfect, and it's not the best sequel, but I do think it's better than the theatrical version. Coming in at number 5 is Halloween H2O. Now, I really like Halloween H2O. I've always liked it ever since I saw it, but I have noticed more of the flaws of this movie the more times I view it. For one, the tone is a little bit off from the previous movies. This came out in the 90s, Scream was really big in the 90s, so I can tell the filmmakers were trying to go for more of a screen tone for it. And of course, fans know famously about the different masks they used in this one. They used 4 different masks. There's a replica of Halloween 6, a CGI mask, and 2 really bland, boring-looking masks. I don't know why they didn't just stick to one. I'll probably never know, but it's whatever. Now, I am going to talk about the ending for this movie. So, again, another spoiler warning if you don't want to know. Again, turn the volume down or something. I don't know. But the ending of this movie is that Michael tracks Laurie down to the school she's working at. She ended up faking her death. Now she works at a school. There's this big showdown with her and Michael. It's really, really awesome. She kills him. And as they put him in the ambulance, she steals the ambulance. She drives off a cliff with Michael. She pins him again. As they're rolling down the hill, the van pins him against the tree. She has this nice, almost sentimental moment with Michael where he reaches out for her. And she just takes an axe and just cuts his head off. It's a great ending. I love it. That's the ending that Resurrection completely ruined. They should have just left it at this. It's a great ending. Would have been a great ending to the whole series. But that didn't happen, so oh well. Coming in at number 4 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, this is one of the more famous Halloween movies, if that's the right word for it. It's definitely the most interesting entry in the franchise, and that's because this movie has nothing to do with the previous 2 movies. It doesn't have Michael Myers. It's not even a slasher movie. What the story behind it is that John Carpenter wanted the franchise to become an anthology franchise, a new entry every year centered around the season Halloween. New characters, new setting, all that stuff. Seems like a cool idea, but since this movie didn't have Michael Myers in it, fans hated it. Fans hated it for years, and it hasn't been until I want to say in the 90s. I could be wrong about that, but that's the time when this movie started to be more appreciated for the originality it took, the direction it took. A lot of fans love Halloween 3. I don't love it, but I do enjoy it. I do like it a little bit more than my previous viewing. It's an interesting entry, like I said. It deals with this weird ritual thing where this guy, this mask creator, plans to sacrifice children on Halloween night with these masks he makes. It's a weird concept, but it is entertaining. It's well acted, it's well directed and well shot. There's just a lot of, I guess, I wouldn't really say cliche elements, but I can't really think of a better word. So I guess I will say there's some cliche moments in it. It doesn't deserve all the hate it gets, but to me, it's not particularly perfect. I do enjoy it, but it's not perfect. Coming in at number 3 is Halloween 2, the original. Now, this one takes place the same night as the original Halloween, which is a cool idea. However, they don't really keep that same tone that the original one had. And that's because in the time span between Halloween and Halloween 2, other slasher movies have come out, So they tried to emulate what those slasher movies did, abandoning most of the suspense elements that Halloween had, and just went for more gore, a little bit more blood and gore, straying away from what the original had. The original one barely had any blood in it, no gore at all. And this one was more concerned with showing a little bit more blood and gore, trying to be a little more edgy. I guess you could say almost shocking with that. Now, with that being said, this is a pretty good sequel. It's definitely one of the better sequels in terms of horror, not just the Halloween ones. It adds a little bit more, it adds more to the story, having Laurie be Michael Myers' sister. Although John Carpenter didn't want that idea to begin with, they went with it anyway. The hospital setting's pretty cool. Everyone's made fun of, though, how, if all this is happening, where are the other doctors, where are the other patients? It's whatever. It's a movie. Sometimes with movies, you just gotta take what you can get. That's sad to say, but it's true. And with this one, you gotta take what you can get. Now, this movie would have been a great end to the series if they would have just kept it at 2 and went with the anthology series, but it didn't happen. And now this whole timeline thing, you can view the movies as 3 or 4 separate timelines. It would have been a good ending if they would have just left it at that, but it didn't, and we're left with a pretty good sequel. It's not as good as the original, but still really good on its own terms. Coming in at number 2 is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Now, I'm just going to say this right now. This isn't a perfect movie. This isn't the best Halloween sequel out there. It really isn't. The reason it's so high for me, though, it has to be with nostalgia, because this was the first Halloween movie I saw, and this movie scared the crap out of me when I first saw it. And rewatching it now, I still get those fears that I had when I first saw it. I still get chills whenever I see certain scenes. It takes me back to middle school when I saw it for the first time. I can't not watch it and not feel that at all. But with that being said now, rewatching it now, it's very similar to the first movie. It's almost beat for beat the same as the first movie. And you know what? Like I said earlier, with some movies, you got to take what you can get. And I could take it with this one. There is an alternate script hanging out there somewhere that you could read of what the original idea was. That would have been weird. That movie would have been completely weird from what we originally got. And honestly, reading that script, I can understand why they took a more safe route with this one. Well, no matter what you think of it, it's an enjoyable movie nonetheless, and it is one of my favorites. Number 2. Alright, we're here at number 1, and you guys all know what it is. It's the original Halloween. I mean, how can it not be? This movie, it's my favorite horror movie of all time. And I've seen a lot of horror movies, and nothing has topped what this movie has done for me. Is it a perfect movie, though? No. I think some people tend to forgive some of the, not bad elements, but noticeable elements because of how great this movie is. Does it have the best acting? No. Do some stuff... Honestly, some stuff kind of comes off a little bit cheap, I guess you could say. But that's because this was a very low-budget movie, even for that time. But the fact that they managed to get such an amazing movie on just a low budget, despite some of the flaws it has, that's really worth commending. It's a very, very great horror movie to this day. Yeah, some of the dialogue is dated. It's not particularly great acting. But this movie really impacted me. And it's the reason why I love horror movies. And it's still my favorite horror movie to this day. So it's got to take the number 1 spot. Well, guys, those are my updated thoughts on the Halloween franchise. Not a whole lot different than my previous list, but they are updated thoughts, so I thought I'd get them out there. Now, the new movie, like I said, is coming out in a couple weeks. After I see the movie, I'm going to give my ranking on where it's going to be on my list. So I'll probably do that at the end of that video. I'm not going to make another list just for that one. But nevertheless, I'm really excited to see the sequel. I hope. I don't think it's going to, but I hope it tops the original. I don't think it will. I don't think any fans are expecting it to. But really think about that. How awesome would that be? I just want it to be good. I don't care if it's amazing. I don't care if it's better than the original. I just want it to be good. But it would be cool if it did top the original. So I've got quite a few of Halloween videos planned for the month of October, and I'm really excited to bring that out to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the videos that I'm going to be bringing to you guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here, and I'll see you guys next time.